I may not, again, I may not be Keanu Reeves, and I certainly do not have the budget to allow for him to join me on this stream, but welcome into story time. So, this story that I'm going to be reading to you here live on Twitch is going to be called The Night Before Christmas. And it's going to feature this little guy that's on the cover of this book that darling Keanu Reeves is reading here by the fire. All relaxed in his PJs, I suppose, reading this book about this little dude. So, before I get into the story itself, let me give you some background information on this guy. So this is not just any love foo. No, it's not. He's not 24 karat gold. Okay, maybe he has a heart of gold, but he's not. This is Winston. So this is Winston. He's a Keybewbew, and Keybewbews are creatures, they're little characters that I've made after Keanu Reeves characters and stories. And Winston is he's not intentionally a troublemaker. He just tends to find himself in trouble a lot. And he's a little bit on the nerdy side, hence his little bow tie. And Winston the Keybewbew, he lives in a music shop in Southern California. He lives in a music shop. And that is going to be where we set our scene. So this little critter is going to feature throughout this book. So Winston is going to be here in spirit as I read his story to you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this story to you. This is a zine that I've created over the past week. Plus, it is a true labor of love. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the music shop, that a Keybewbew was stirring, even the ones waiting for the next drop. The vinyls were stacked, the bass guitar put aside with care, in the hopes that by morning Keanu Reeves would be there. Most of the Keybewbews were sleeping, making content little sighs. Yeah, I'm thinking except for one, Winston, who anxiously fussed with his bow tie. Everyone else has such a cool gift. I gotta find one. Fast. Hey, did someone say fast? And the ultimate life form, the blue blur, too. They perked up their ears as Winston meandered through. When Winston rummaged through a box of left-behind treasure, the ultimate life form ran over to see what was the matter. Winston was startled to see his glowing red eyes and dropped the vinyl record he claimed for a prize. Winston locked eyes with the blue blur, his filled with tears, and both spiny Keybewbews tried to assuage his fears. Winston, why did you do this? Ultimate wanted to know. I wanted Keanu's gift to be very special. Oh, great. We can't replace it this time of night. There's one I know who could help you, left a voice out of sight. 'Twas the one with the pencil. His suit battered and worn, he scowled fiercely at the Keybewbews, and then he went on. St. Nicholas, he could help you, he grunted. And more Keybewbews appeared. Winston gulped and nodded, adjusted his fur and bow tie. Oh. He picked up the vinyl record's pieces and asked, oh, why? I've been so careless, and I've made such a mess. Winston, what matters now are the choices that you make next. The blue blur and the ultimate life form nodded to him with a smirk, and Winston was pulled through time and space with a jerk. Whoa, where am I going? Winston asked them both, and found himself in the back of Santa's sleigh as soon as he spoke. A giant pair of green mittens came down from above, and Winston gazed upon the beaming face of St. Nick, full of love. St. Nick chuckled at him. Hello, Winston. You've come to make amends? Santa? Winston gasped, tears in his eyes, broken record in his hands. I'm glad you brought this record. I need to fix it anyway, my son. And with a wink, a nod, and a ho ho ho, the three pieces became one. Whoa. You better hurry back now, little one. I have more presents to place. But Winston shook his head no, despite receiving the new gift. I can't teleport nor run fast, and I'm sure there's a flight I've missed. Thought Santa, a finger to his bearded chin. Then he set Winston on Rudolph's back with a big, clever grin. Go on, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, get this Keybewbew back to his shop. A minute to midnight. Winston let out a shout. Ah! As Rudolph flew through the sky, past the clouds, the stars, and the buildings way up high. The Keybewbews fled as the store was open for the day. A pair of boots stopped at the record in his way. Is that? What's this? Large hand scooped the record off the floor. The Sharpie was uncapped, a scribble added to the vinyl, with a knock at the door. All right, I'm coming, I'll get it, he said. And the record was put on the shelf above Winston's head. Winston stood on tiptoe and took a curious peek. And the other Keybewbews all chittered in an excited squeak. Winston, Winston, he signed it, they said in joy. Winston knew then righting a wrong was better than any toy. Winston was amazed at all he'd been through that night. Merry Christmas from the Keybewbews, and may 2026 turn out all right. So there we are. That is my retelling of The Night Before Christmas, greatly abridged, of course. There's lots of bits of scenery that was, taken from the original Night Before Christmas. There's a little bit of a hint there of Rudolph, the Red-Nosed Reindeer in there too, because that was also one of my favorite stories growing up as a kid. So I hope that you enjoyed this little retelling. Again, this entire zine is going to be on my Ko-fi shop for free. So you can go ahead and you can download that for free for Christmas. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for listening in, for liking my stories. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. And I hope that you enjoyed that little retelling with little Winston. I hope that you enjoyed the little story time that I shared with you.